Hello, and today we are going to be talking about Delta specifically because it is right now a Category 4, but it will be a Category 5 next update most likely. And it could potentially be the strongest storm of the year, even stronger than Laura, and it's having a very similar path. And also, this is going through rapid intensification, so it is like yesterday during the morning it was a tropical depression, and now it's a Category 4. And this thing's still intensifying, so I would definitely not be surprised, and I do not doubt a Category 5. Here is the National Hurricane Center's homepage, and actually right now, Delta, Major Hurricane Delta is the only thing on the forecast, but if it had a 10-day outlook, I bet it would have a lot more because the second half of October could potentially be very active. And in last video, I said that it would be very active, and it still will be in the second half. But in the first half, I think that we're just going to have one or two major storms. Hello, and here's infrared satellite. As you can see, it's a very strong storm. In fact, the clouds are very cold right now, potentially negative 75 to negative 80 degrees Celsius. And also right now I'm circling the eye of the storm. It hasn't formed yet on visible radar, but on visible satellite, but it's forming. And then you can see outer bands, and I mean, the outer bands are just basically perfect, and that's why it's so strong. I mean, that banding is very strong. Now, as you can see, its eye is intensifying, and so is its infrared satellite imagery shows it rapidly intensifying to maybe even negative 90, which means that it should be taken very seriously and is a incredibly strong storm. Now, the reason the visible satellite does not show the eye quite yet is because usually the infrared is basically predicting the eye. You can see basically a dent in the cloud, and when you see that dent, it's an eye forming, and it looks like an eye. But you can see a lot of convection in these areas, a sign of rapid intensification, very thick cloud cover in there. You can kind of see like the streets where it could form, and the banding is a little less organized on this, but I want to switch that to red. But basically the infrared satellite is helping us predict it. This is showing it less organized because it basically is showing you what it is right now, when the infrared satellite helps you predict it. And it looks that way because of the colors. Well, as you can see right here, there are models that say it could potentially be a Category 5, and I would not be surprised, and I do not doubt that happening, even though there's lots of wind shear that will weaken it once it is close and makes landfall. It doesn't mean that in the center of the Gulf it's not going to be a Category 5. In the center of the Gulf for a very short period of time, in fact, I think it will be a Category 5. From the National Hurricane Center, here is the official forecast. Now here are the spaghetti models. They show it hitting the center of Louisiana and then going up through areas of Kentucky, and it heads slightly east. The National Hurricane Center a while ago declared La Niña, and it is still in La Niña status. Now, pretty much, here is the reason why I think this could potentially be a Category 5. It is because look at these very warm sea surface temperatures in the western Atlantic. It is right in the heart of the hottest of them, and that means it could potentially go through rapid intensification even more. But again, something that you have to consider is that in the very much northern Gulf, we are seeing 26 and 25 degrees Celsius sea surface temperatures, so that could weaken it before landfall, so it will not make a super strong landfall. But it still could be Category 3. If this ends up being a Category 5, it will be on the weaker end, but again, any Category 5 is really strong. According to the ECMWF, in 84 hours, that is exactly when we are going to have a landfall. It is going to be in the center of New Orleans, maybe some outer bands in Texas and through Pensacola. And it will make a landfall at 962 millibars. If it's going to be a Category 5, here's one thing you need to consider still. That it has wind shear off the Gulf Coast and on the Gulf Coast. And this wind shear could potentially reach its northern end and potentially weaken it to a Category 4 or 3. It will not make a Category 5 landfall. It will have a Category 3 landfall. Based on the National Hurricane Center, this is the wind field using scribble maps I created. And as you can see, it has a small area in the green with tropical storm force winds, and then it has a little bit of a red area for hurricane, and then it has a very small area for major hurricane. And you can see that it's a very strong storm, and for central Louisiana, take it into consideration and take it seriously, but it's a very small storm. It's strong, but it doesn't cover much land. Here is the animation of Hurricane Delta. Disclaimer, that was very specific, so do not take that forecast very seriously. If you would like accuracy, go by this cone I created. The reason it is not going to end up going towards Texas or going towards Tallahassee is actually because, well, in Texas, in western Louisiana, we have a trough. And then in Florida, we have a high pressure system, which brings it only to one choice. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. And press the post notification icon, and why not throw a comment down below.